Why is this damage not capped? Hey guys, Daredevil here bringing you a guide on specializations in Borderlands 4. You can't just swap out specializations as you please, as respecking them costs a huge amount of iridium. So this video will hope to make the choice easy and simple as to not mess up your build. I'll test out most passive skills and provide feedback on the results. So let's get right into it by explaining just what specializations are. The moment you finish your campaign, you'll unlock specializations. This is a way to keep gaining power long after you reach the max level of 50. You can see the separate experience bar around your level here, the specialization experience being purple and normal experience being yellow. Once you get a specialization level, you have a point to spend in this tree. There are initially 4 places you can put a point: in Survivor, Brute, Sharpshooter, or Runner. Putting a point in one of these will raise your stats the amount listed. You can put an unlimited amount of points in these, boosting you up in the area you like as you gain levels. Unlike this skill tree though, you aren't traveling down it. You are simply investing into the area of specialization, and that unlocks the passive below it as you do so. Notably on the left, you'll see slots to add in passive skills. Initially there are no slots unlocked, but you unlock the first one once you've committed 1 point, then the second at 10 points, third at 20, and the final at 30 points, letting you equip a total of 4 passive skills. Passive skills are below each of the 4 trees and require investment to unlock. For example, if you put 1 point in Survivor, you'll unlock Sturdy Stuff. 10 points is Bullets Are Scared of Me, and 20 points is the Best Defense. You're probably screaming at the screen right now, questioning if I'm blind or not. Yes, there are 3 other specializations in Gadgeteer, Killer, and Daredevil. These unlock when you get to 10 points in the specializations. They are in between. So 10 points in Survivor and Brute unlock Gadgeteer. Then these 3 specializations have their own passives to unlock, at 1 point, 10 points, and 20 points. So for example, Rafa here has 10 points in Survivor and 10 points in Brute, unlocking Gadgeteer as well as the first 2 passives of each of those trees. He has 15 in Gadgeteer, unlocking the first 2 passives out of that tree. He also has unlocked the ability to equip 4 passive skills and has 2 from Survivor as well as 2 from Gadgeteer. When he gets a specialization level, his options are to put 1 point in Survivor, Brute, Sharpshooter, Runner, or Gadgeteer. If he wanted to start investing into, say, Killer, he would need to invest 10 points into Sharpshooter to unlock it, or he can respec at a respec machine. Though unlike skills, which cost 10% of your total cash, respecing specializations cost iridium, and at least at the point of recording, 5,000 of it no matter how much you have, so you can't just swap out specializations willy-nilly. So now that you understand how specializations work, let's go through each one. Note that the exact amount of stats in each specialization is subject to balance changes over time, but is generally around 1% per rank, exponentially getting lower the higher investment into that specialization. Therefore, the more points you put in, the lower return you'll get. The first is Survivor. This raises your maximum health and shields when you invest into it. Shields include both energy and armor shield varieties, so naturally this is to help boost up your tank ability, which is always useful as the higher Vault Hunter ranks will kill you extremely quickly, much quicker than a few percentage points of damage will offset, so it's a specialization worth considering. The first passive skill, Sturdy Stuff, is unlocked with 1 point in Survivor. It gives you 50% more fight for your life duration while standing still. You can see here if I move, it drains faster. You also restore 100% of your health when you get a second wind. This is very useful in those particularly difficult fights, but the honest truth is you'll switch this out as soon as you unlock some of the latest skills. For 10 points, Bullets Are Scared of Me. It gives you up to a 30% damage reduction based on the fullness of your shields or health, whichever is the highest maximum capacity. This is a huge damage reduction, but keep in mind shields get hit first, so having a high health build will get the most out of this, at least more health than your shield total. I have a huge turtle shield on this character, so the passive is hamstrung because of it. Survivor on its own increases your maximum, not your regeneration, and the damage reduction is based on the fullness, not the numerical amount. So in practice, this damage reduction is often lower. Yes, it will stop you getting one shot, but it's not going to stop you dying, at least with an energy shield. Notably, armor shields give a flat damage reduction, so this seems to stack with that. If you keep your armor pips up, they will actually serve you much better than having an energy shield, as long as your health is higher than your max armor, as keeping your health full and therefore your 30% reduction won't be hard if you're getting 30% from this and another 30% from your armor. Now, with a significant 20 points in Survivor, you unlock the best defense. This is a big payoff for your tank investment and a key passive for any tank build. It gives you 30% extra damage dealt. This is all damage dealt from everything you do, including your guns, ordnance, skills, and other miscellaneous projectiles, based on the fullness of your shields or health, whichever has the highest maximum capacity. So just like the last passive skill, this works best with high health builds, as damage hits shields first and it's easier to keep your health full than your shields because of that. If you have a powerful but low maximum armor shield, you'll be spending most of your time simply dishing out 30% more damage with this passive skill. A great top end for tank builds. Then we have Brute. It gives a percentage gun damage per point. So you have to imagine that most builds will be okay with putting some points here, and some will absolutely love it. The first passive skill unlocked with 1 point in Brute is Lead or Alive. When entering Fight for Your Life, all guns automatically are reloaded and the Vault Hunter gains 25% fire rate. So like sturdy stuff, this is useful but will mostly be replaced when you unlock better passive skills. For 10 points in Brute, you unlock CQC, which makes it so melee damage grants the Vault Hunter 30% increased fire rate for 8 seconds. Now, you'd think this would just be for melee builds, but it's very easy to weave in the occasional melee strike for a huge 30% extra fire rate. Also, it says melee damage, not melee attacks. Eamon, for example, does melee damage with all his action skills, so throw an axe at the face and launch off roughly 30% more bullets into their face to follow up. Let's hope they don't change this to just be your basic melee attacks. For a big 20-point commitment, you'll unlock Riddle You This. It makes it so whenever you deal gun damage, you'll gain a stack of Riddle You This for 6 seconds, increasing gun damage by 1% per stack, stacking 50 times to 50% gun damage. Now, this is worth spending 20 points in the tree, absolutely. It's a percentage-based increase, and 50% is massive. If you have a fast-firing weapon, you'll get to maximum stacks incredibly quickly. Also, a lot scales off gun damage. For example, in the Gadgeteer passive skills, we have Full Spectrum Arsenal, which makes it so ordnance damage now gains 50% of increases to gun damage. So you'd shoot things, then throw off a powered up grenade. Even without the combos, Riddle You This is a powerful passive skill. Keep in mind, stacks don't independently fade after 6 seconds. Each shot refreshes the duration. This is very easy to keep up. Next is the Sharpshooter specialization, and to me, gun reload speed and accuracy aren't nearly as important as health, shields, and gun damage. Reloading takes anywhere from half a second to 3, so committing 20 points in this tree will save you 0.1 seconds to 0.6 seconds of reload if it didn't have diminishing returns, which it does, so you get much less than that. Depending on your gun's magazine size, this could be anywhere from barely noticeable to irrelevant. Accuracy though can help. The real reason you want to commit some points to this tree is for the passive skills. For 1 point, you unlock Down But Not Out, which unlocks the ability to aim down sights and not suffer accuracy penalties while in Fight for Your Life. Useful, but like the other 3, this will be replaced once you unlock better skills. Skills like In the Zone. For 10 points, while aiming, the Vault Hunter gains up to 5% gun damage and critical damage, increasing each second up to 25%. This bonus lasts 2 seconds after the aiming stops, meaning that any build that aims down sights slightly will be significantly stronger, especially sniper builds. There are some incredibly powerful Jacob sniper rifles in the game, and let me tell you, this very much boosts them up. However, even a powerful fast-firing weapon will take full advantage of it while aiming down sights, and for those 2 seconds after. Now, for a massive 20-point commitment, I say massive because you know how I feel about committing so much to reload speed reduction, you'll unlock One Shot, One Kill. It better be good, and yeah, it's crazy. It's a kill skill, meaning that Vault Hunters that benefit from kill skills in their passive skill tree will also benefit from this. It makes it so 100% excess damage will be stored and added to your next gunshot. lasting 12 seconds. So if you are a sniper, you'll aim down sights, get your 25% bonus damage and bonus crit on top of that, which is multiplicative, then you'll overkill a target, and your next snipe and next target will be vastly overkilled, carrying over to the next. If you keep going, you can stack up some insane damage numbers. So yes, this is amazing for sniper builds, but also those who use powerful shotguns. Yeah, think about it. The runner specialization is next, and it increases your movement speed and melee damage, an obvious application, but what isn't obvious is just how useful movement speed is, because even outside of combat, you'll appreciate having it. Melee damage notably gets a large boost per point, which is why all those melee builds you see early don't seem to be doing a lot of damage. You need to build into them. The first passive skill for 1 point is the first that doesn't affect fight for your life. It makes it so melee now gets 50% benefits from gun damage. Nuts, insane. If you aim on, this is a no-brainer. You'd have to be a heavily invested melee Rafa to pick this up, but most everyone else won't be using this unless they play a very niche build, or there's gear that changes the game in ways I haven't seen yet. You'll be punching things so much harder with this though, or in Eamon's case, doing much more damage with your action skills. For a 10-point investment, you'll unlock Bullet Train. It makes it so you're able to hip fire while sprinting, and you gain gun damage the faster you move. It starts at 15% while walking, but scales up the faster you're going. Rafa is naturally very good at boosting his movement speed between his trait and the passives in his skill tree, so this could be a significant amount of damage for him. Unless you're committing a lot of points into runner, or have another way to boost your speed, this isn't going to be something you build around, but I foresee a Doom Guy build using this specialization, sprinting and hip-fire shotgunning down enemies. Now, I've tested this, but without a mathematician, I can't accurately figure out how much speed increases the damage. So if you like running and gunning, just pick this up and worry about the numbers later. If you're not interested in that, don't pick it up. Let's just keep it simple. For a large 20-point investment, it makes it so your non-melee attack damage and slam damage is stored. Then your next melee attacks and slam deal bonus kinetic melee damage based on 20% of the stored damage. Then they consume the charges, meaning your next melee attack will just be normal. As far as I can tell, this has no cap. The cap is just the stored damage duration and how long you can keep storing. I find it hard to believe they'll keep it uncapped forever, so I won't comment on just how damn broken this passive skill is. Test it out for yourself once you're done watching this video, but let me just say, if you plan at all on using melee, this is a must-get skill. Don't even think about it, just get it. You'll be slapping enemies to the moon. Now we move down to the specializations that need unlocking. With 10 in Survivor and Brute, we unlock Gadgeteer, which increases the cooldown rate of ordnance weapons. If you like your heavy weapons and grenades, using them more often won't hurt. With a 1-point commitment, the first passive skill is Tripwire. It makes it so your ordnance cooldown is reduced by 25% every time you activate your action skill. So if you have a low cooldown action skill, this will make it so you can activate your flashy ordnance very often. As you can see though, it doesn't work with charges, simply the first activation. Though it's a no-brainer for ordnance builds, it's not the most useful outside of that. Then for 10 points, you unlock Full Spectrum Arsenal. I already mentioned that it makes it so your ordnance damage now benefits from increases to gun damage at 50%. This means your ordnance will be hitting much harder if you have any gun damage increasing stats at all. Here, I don't have too much, but you can still see the increase. Yes, you get these gun damage increases from gear, but also passives and skills. Keep in mind too that many action skills use ordnance damage, like Rafa's Apophis Lance and Eamon's Scourge. These will also get the damage boost. Amazing skill, and it makes ordnance builds legit. No notes. With a large 20-point commitment, you unlock Fragmentation Payload. It makes it so ordnance has a 5% chance to crit, but also deals 50% more critical damage. Listen, critting is powerful in any Borderlands because it exponentially multiplies damage. Once again, we need a mathematician, and I'm sure one in the comments can explain it to you, but yes, this is a good thing. Also, Jacob's grenades, aka throwing knives, crit when hitting weak points anyway. So they really like the 50% increased critical damage, same with gun-based heavy weapons which can also crit. The next specialization is Killer, which requires 10 points in Brute and 10 in Sharpshooter. It gives you increased critical and status effect damage. This is just a lot of value for a single point because Most builds will appreciate at least one of these stats, and some builds will love both. So if you've gone a status effect build at all, which exists in all Vault Hunter's trees, Harlow's Disco Nuclear Ball Middle Branch for example, then you'll love putting points here. For 1 point you unlock Contamination, which makes it so critical hits grant increased status effect application chance. 10% per stack, stacking 10 times to 100%, so getting a few critical hits in a row means you'll always be applying status effects, and there are a ton of builds that come online with status effects. Check this passive out, Ruffer's Ore, at the end of his Apophis Lance tree. It makes it so shocked enemies are taking nothing but critical hits from Ruffer for a duration. You know what that means? More applications of shock, therefore more crits. It's a cycle that doesn't end until you stop firing on your enemies for 10 seconds. So yes, with the right builds, this can be insane. Though I noticed through testing that once you reach 10 stacks, you can't do anything to stop the stacks decaying. Perhaps this is a bug that will get rectified, but it also doesn't really change how great this skill is. For 10 points we have Compounding Afflictions. Enemies take 1% increased damage from all sources for each status effect applied to them. Yes, status effects stack. This is damage from everything, including you, your friends, and neutral hazards in the world. Yes, this is strong in the status effect build, and yes, Vex's build involving spreading different kinds would absolutely love this. For a seemingly not so bad 20-point commitment, you get a kill skill. Once again, this gets all the benefits that kill skills get from your passives in your skill tree. This makes it so killing an enemy with a crit will cause them to explode, dealing 50% of initial hits in skill damage. If you've gone a critical hit build, forget about it. This is a must-get passive skill. Get it and forget it. But even on normal builds, this can be great. You're always aiming for criticals, and a lot of things can crit, even your action skills and ordnance. Doing a lot of extra AoE damage isn't anything to scoff at, but do keep in mind this is good at clearing mobs, not for killing bosses. It's not always going to be amazing therefore, and I do find that Compounding Afflictions is an overall better passive skill. The final specialization is Daredevil, and it requires 10 points in Sharpshooter and 10 in Runner. It makes it so your action skill has an increased cooldown rate. This is always going to be good. Each Vault Hunter loves using their action skills, and I don't know of a build that doesn't mix them in some way. Long cooldowns will love this more than short because it's percentage based, but still, this is a good place to put some spare points. For 1 point, you unlock the passive skill, Now with Caffeine. It reduces the action skill cooldown by 25% whenever a rep kit is activated. Unless you have a very short cooldown rep kit or one with charges, this won't be abusable. Getting your action skill up more often is great and does give you another reason to press your heal when you're not in need for it. But it can also make you waste it and not have it up for when you really do need it. It's likely you'll replace this one, and as of my testing, this skill is broken, as in it just doesn't work. No doubt it'll be fixed eventually, but as of right now, it's not worth the point, at least until they fix it. For 10 points in Daredevil, you'll unlock I Am a Gun. It makes it so action skill damage now benefits from increases to gun damage, 50%. Just like Full Spectrum Arsenal and Bare Arms, this is absolutely insane. You could very well get and equip all three, then just pump up your gun damage with gear and also with points in Brute. This would be a very effective way to boost all your damage outputs at once, but in a vacuum, increasing skill damage is fantastic for almost every build. Bar builds that have action skills that don't do much damage or any at all, like the Halo Capstone Modified Flux Generator from Harlow. This is a great passive skill. Finally, for a large 20-point investment, we have a Honed Mind. Action skills gain a 5% chance to critically hit enemies and also gain 50% increased action skill critical hit damage. This is similar to Fragmentation Payload and just as good. Action skills are mostly not intended to crit unless stated otherwise, and doing so exponentially increases their damage. However, unlike Ordnance, which is a lot easier to make crit, some action skills will be relying on that 5% chance. So one hit type of skills like Harlow 0 Point will not get a massive benefit from this. Either way, it's a good skill and certainly is worth swapping out something like Sturdy Stuff or Down But Not Out for, unless you really are having trouble with some hard content. So those are all the specializations and their passive skills. What do you think? Are your wheels turning? In most cases, it's safe to go down the Brute and Sharpshooter specializations to get Killer, then invest down that, or Sharpshooter and Runner and invest down Daredevil. There are powerful, universally good passives in both where you can't go wrong. I love Gadgeteer, but you really do need to focus your build around it to be good. It does cost a lot to respec, so make sure you know what direction you want to go before committing. A few points invested won't increase your power much, but it will cost you a lot to remove if you've screwed it up. So I hope you have a better grasp of the system now and are much more prepared for what's to come. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, ciao friends.